city manager and community development department to enter into negotiations with Kala Contemporary Woodwork for the sale of city property located at 1200 Water Street. Kala has offered $1 for the property. Kala has informed us that they are planning on significant investments and improvements in the building, including, but not limited to, electrical and plumbing updates, create more usable space for their business. And at this time, the property is used by the city. At this time, the property uses more city resources than it currently returns, and having a negative value for the city. We have recently received an estimate of $135,000 for environmental remediation and demolition of this building. The property is approximately 0.73 acres in size and has a 2,208 square foot building, which has previously functioned as a city water treatment facility. The legal description can be read in Exhibit A. Public Utilities did turn over control of this property to the city in 2018. The city nor the PUC have a current use for the property other than miscellaneous storage inside of the building. Currently, there is a raw water line passing underneath the building. The plan by the PUC would be to reroute that water line around the property and cap the line underneath the building if it were to be sold. City staff has been in contact with the PUC throughout this process.
Thank you, John. So, any suggestions or wanna take a stab at it? I guess I support that we get rid of the property and get some use out of it, and hopefully get a tax base for the city and get some employment out of it and get use for the building. So right now, like they said, it hasn't been used for many years, and it's time to move on.
I support selling the property, and if someone can be an entrepreneur and make some good use of the building and try to retain a couple jobs or add a couple jobs to the community and sales tax base and make improvements to it, I support it.
I guess I'm also comfortable with it. I mean, we did, at our last council meeting, authorize staff to do that. The general public was made aware of it and contacted by nobody.
I have been contacted by no one about
All right. So I'm all right with it.
And just maybe want to make a note too, the public understands, it's zoned agriculture. So we've got very limited uses for that site.
Right.
I guess I do have concerns with this. My concern is that $1 for a property that is valued at $175,000 is a real deal. And I think that at least the land value would be appropriate to ask. And I think the land is valued at like $19,000. I just think there's some value to the city there, and to sell it for $1 is not very prudent. But I understand, there's just no guarantee for us. We don't have, if we sell it for $1, we have no control over what happens to that property. This person could turn around and sell it if they want. And I guess that's my biggest concern is we don't know if there's going to be jobs. There's no guarantees of any of that stuff happening. And I guess that is just my concern. And I just don't really support the dollar sale. I think there should be more invested by the person that is going to be purchasing that. It's more guaranteed investment, I should say.
Mm-hmm. But as the comment was made in the closed session, he's going to have to stick a lot of money into the building and to try to get a bigger price out of it and then turn around and stick money in. It's not going to work. I just don't believe it. So.
And like we heard in the closed session, we don't have a record of how old the roof is. So we know we're 25 plus years. So we're past life expectancy on the property. And, we've sold land for $1, but we've had agreements in place that they,
right,
through deed programs, employ so many jobs and things of that nature and built buildings. So,
yep, I think in the past we've had deals where we sold land for $1, but it was guaranteeing so and so many jobs, such and such a wage. for a certain amount of time. So I'm comfortable with that, but there is no guarantee. There is no guarantee on this as far as selling it for $1. That person has full control. They could turn around and sell it at the value they wanted to sell it at, And I know we feel that it's doesn't have a lot of value because of the building might be, old, but there's still value there. There's still value there. So I just can't support the sale for $1.
Are you thinking then we want to go out for an RFP, or request, and put it out there that it's for sale and come back in a couple of weeks and see if we get a response from the community?
I guess
And the public
my
has a
hope would be
opportunity?
that this person might be interested in it enough to pay some kind of not a fair value as to 175, but I'm looking at the land portion. Just the $19,000 for that land somewhere. I don't know. I just think the land has some value to it, and we shouldn't sell it for $1 with no benefit that we can see in the future right now. Other than we will gain taxes on it because it will be
The
taxable.
last time it was sold, didn't we sell it for $1? No.
No, it was like when we sold it to DOCC, I think it was like 49, but that was in 1999.
Yeah.
So,
And again, like what we talked
But
about.
then the roof and everything was good and everything.
Well, and we talked about previously in 1999, that property wasn't located in the 100-year floodplain.
Okay.
Now it is. And to be honest, when we took elevations of the front of the property and then one of the corners of the property, that's all within the floodplain. So a building wouldn't be allowed to be built there anymore.
That's,
It
I
is
guess
what it
I-
is.
right.
Um,
So
I
it's
guess I
really the
still-
land value.
Land, even go ahead. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, I'm sorry again, everybody, but so this land is zoned agricultural,
Correct.
and just kind of looking through the code here, could he get a conditional use permit to put a sawmill in there? Because I'm not. I guess I'm gonna have some questions about that. Looking at
So Tom,
the listed uses by conditional use permit.
right. So the last two times we sold the property, it was for industrial uses on that property, and we didn't require a conditional use permit because we want to take the extra precautions with this one in particular because there might be sound involved. We want to go through the conditional use permit process so the public has a chance to voice their opinion or concern about this process.
John, would this be an opportunity for us to do the interim conditional use permit so then we can see if the sound affects the neighboring or,
It is an option. The one concern I would have with the interim use permit is it's such a limited time. It might make them slightly nervous to invest a bunch of money in a building that could get pulled from them in 5 years. Do you know what I mean?
Correct.
So that's the reason we kind of were focusing on a conditional use permit.
But either way, we have a public hearing, so then the neighbors, are notified and
Correct.
they'll voice their concerns. So,
Again, I'm just looking at the uses for conditional use permit, and I guess I'm not sure how a sawmill fits in, but I thought I'd voice that.
well, it would be sawmill / manufacturing of finished goods.
Yeah.
Manufacturing.
one question, not to put you on the spot, with the new zoning ordinance soon to be in our hands for review, any major changes in the agriculture or
In the
not?
RA? Well, actually, 'cause when we were researching this, a lot of times manufacturing of wood products or sawmilling
Is in the R-
is considered
I
an
kind of thought
agricultural
that,
process.
but okay.
So it's one thing we're considering adding to the
Okay.
new one.
Okay.
For instance, if you're doing forestry falls under the Department of Agricultural rules. It's an agricultural product that's made in many parts of the state. So
Thank you. Counselor Schultz, we haven't heard.
I know, I've been quiet on this issue, which is really uncommon. I don't know. It seems when I read that it's currently at a D value, that maybe we should get it up and running. But I'm not a fan of this dollar either, and I agree with Counselor Fisher. I think we should try. I mean, this is a negotiation. He offered $1, and we don't have to accept the dollar.
But unless
So-
you make it considerably more,
He's
we're-
not gonna
we're
do
really
it.
spinning our wheels.
The land value
a
would-
dollar, $1,000, or $2,000. Really, it's. I mean, unless you escalate that price up to 20, 30,000,
just gonna walk
we're just
away.
wasting our time, and then they'll walk
They'll
away.
walk away.
Well, and, you know, the alternative is that we spend 135,000 to tear it down.
Right. That's why I think.
And then
take
there's
the buck.
nothing, and then there's no or reuse, repurposing the building.
Or it
And-
sits for another 20 years and another.
Well, and it becomes blighting and everything else.
I
and,
think we need to
you know,
move on
so
with life and get rid of it, same as we did with our property.
And that's my other thing is we sold it twice and it hasn't worked. Maybe this time it would, and
hope.
then we could get it moving and have something happening down in that little nook. So when you call the vote, I'll vote. So, I don't know.
Go for it.
I'm not going to make a motion. No way. No, no. Not on this one.
well, we could
I made the big motion of the week.
we could make a motion to enter into an agreement with an offer, you know, yet to be determined, maybe for the price or.
You got to make an offer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have an offer.
Well, we have an offer, but
Then you got to
to
accept it or
deny the
reject it.
offer and then to come back with a counter offer.
But again, that part
Yeah.
I agree with President Schmitz. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna offer you $1,000. We're spinning our wheels.
We
Yeah.
just wasted
Either,
time.
either
Let's-
we decide we wanna go after, give us 15,000 or 20,000,
Right.
That's
do an
all.
RFP or accept $1.
Yeah.
We make the choice.
Yeah.
I'm actually okay with whatever route we wanna go, just,
Yep.
And I'm not a fan of that RFP just because it's such a small agriculture business.
Yeah.
Who's got a plan that's going to walk in 2 to 3 weeks with I want to buy this property? It's just not
Right.
going to happen.
nobody.
Nobody's going to
Yeah.
do
No,
that.
I don't
think you're
foresee
right.
that.
I think we make a counter offer or we accept it. So, Larry, you got the motion. So,
Well, I'm gonna throw it out there for the city council to accept the offer for $1 from Cala and city staff to work with the city attorney to develop a purchase agreement.
any conditions in there?
He's aware, do we have to put that condition in there that on accepting the offer, he'll have to return for conditional use, or don't we have to?
We could put that in the purchase
just
agreement.
put it-
He's already
I-
been made aware of.
Okay.
if
Ah.
they
What
were
about the
moving forward.
5-year residency thing? If it's appropriate, I mean, if it's
I-
legal or whatever you want to call it.
I'll add that the developer is also aware of that he'll have to come back for a conditional use permit, you know, to accept his use for the agriculture property to manufacture goods. And then do we want to ask city attorney to look into if he has to add or retain any jobs to help with the sale because we're selling government property. Does that
It'd probably
sound?
be in the agreement, right?
Well, if we're gonna do that, maybe we should do the research and make the offer at the next meeting.
Well, Tom, I would
No.
argue that he's already would be creating jobs. He's already told us that he's looking at doing it full time as well as his wife. So, and he
That's creating, yeah.
also has 2 employees.
And he's creating industry.
Hmm?
Creating industry,
Right.
that was also part of it.
But you don't have the 5-year residency requirement or non-sale requirement, or are you
That would
going
be
to
difficult, I think.
add that?
I think
That'd be a research question for the attorney whether
If it's legal, you would
If-
want it added.
Well, you could,
it can't hurt to ask in my motion for the attorney to research if he has to own it for X amount of years, for say up to 5 years, and or he may have to
get the land
repay
value.
the land payment value, the current land value, back to the city upon
All
that
right,
sale.
you got my vote then.
Sounds good. Got that, Nicole?
Well, that,
Okay.
it's got it on tape, so.
Yeah, all right. Any more discussion?
Was there a second?
No, we need a second.
Oh.
second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
I'm confused. What are we doing?
so. It's currently with a dollar offer. with the caveat of CUP, and then retention of jobs and a 5-year hold of the property if it's legal for us to do that. If you could do the research on that to add that to the purchase agreement.
Might not be able to do that, but we want you to look into it.
Yeah, if we can ask them
And
to.
you,
Oh, go ahead, Tom.
and you guys wouldn't let me look that up before we made that offer. I mean, I feel like I should do that research before we make an offer. That'd be my.
Well, we
advice.
can make that in a motion that you
Any
research it and get back to
pressing
Chris.
need.
Right?
Don't really have to, Tom, because we're saying if it's legal, we want it in there. If it's not legal, it can't go in.
Right. That'll work too.
All right.
So it's based on your research. So we'll follow what you tell us.
All right. Any more discussion? Seeing none? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no?
No,
Finance. Dave.
Dave.
Finance Director, please call the roll.
Counselor Fisher,
no.
Counselor Mack,
Yes.
Counselor Schultz,
Yes.
Counselor Christian.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. But no more business. Meeting adjourned.
Boom.